How to create an abstract op art design such as this in Affinity Photo, PC or Mac. The key thing is you have to have a layer and you have to have it filled with something. This one is filled with obviously this design, but you can always fill it with edit and fill it with black to start with. So once you've done that, what you do, go to filters and down to colors and procedural texture. So procedural texture is a great filter. I love this filter. It's super powerful, got tons of presets. Now some of these presets are ones I've created, but there are a few that come with it. If you're using it in CMYK, you might not see any there. But if you're using it with RGB document, you will see these presets. And I'm going to use waves. Now I did a previous video showing where you can create depth with this sort of design. But in this case, I'm going to use patterns. Unfortunately, there's no pattern functionality in this. It'd be brilliant if there was, but there isn't. There is a mirror feature that you can use with pattern layers, but that's not exactly the same. I'm going to tweak this. I'm just going to put 3 times RY. You can modify the equations. You don't need to keep it as is, and you can see creates an intense design. I also can modify this A setting. I can put maybe multiply it by 2 to create it even more intense, or 3. Up to you, of course. And you can modify this setting, the parameter or custom input down here, and get that sort of design. But I want it to be diagonally, and a great way to make anything diagonal in Affinity Photo procedural texture is to put RY plus RX. And RY is relative Y. That's that direction, up and down. RX is across. And that just means relative X and relative Y. So times bracket RY plus RX. Now you could just put times RX times RY, just as reasonable as well. You don't have to have the parenthesis. So you can see now you've got this diagonal design. You know, you can make it more intense, up to you. But click apply. And now it's applied to that layer. I'm going to turn it into a pattern layer. And you can do that, just go to layer and new pattern layer from selection. Now you could save this design. You could go to file and just save it, just a standard file and save, and you could import it again, maybe using the gradients or fill layer. That's another option as well, if you want to create this pattern design. But as a pattern, what you can do is you can resize this. Now you'll see there's a line cut through there, which is not what I want. But you can get rid of it just by going to mirror in the top left. So mirror, and you can now see the design there. To select this, what you need to do is simply have this selected, and you'll see this bounding box around it. You can also rotate it. So just go here and rotate. And you can create all kinds of designs using this approach. But you can also, at any point, go to layer, and you can go down to rasterize. And rasterize will turn it all into one solid layer. It's no longer a pattern. So you can see pixels here. But you can do exactly the same. Layer and new pattern layer from selection. It's selected, so you can then just turn it into yet another pattern. Again, resize that. And again, you can see you've got this cut through here. Again, just go up here. That resolves it. Go to mirror, and you can see your design there. And you can resize it, reposition it, make it small, or as intense as you'd like. But I'm going to go with layer and down to rasterize. So that's now rasterized. I can now apply filters to it. Now I didn't have to do the rasterizing. I could also apply filters just to the pattern layer itself. Not so effective. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Depends on the filter. But I'm just going to go with the pixel one here, and filters and distort and mirror. So select that. And now you can see much the same as before. In fact, it's hard to see it actually, but you can see you can move that up and down. So you can position it, say, there. You can also modify a number of mirrors. And you can make it 5 or 6, 10. And also you can change this. Change the input position, so you can move it around. Maybe like there. And change the input. You can also hold down the Alt Option key. And then you can move it around very rapidly like that. So you can create infinite number of... Now, sadly, There is no snapshot feature in any of these filters. I would love to see that, because you think, oh, that's a great design. I've got this design. That is just perfect for me. And then I have to click apply and go back into it, or undo and go back into it again. If only there was a snapshot, save a snapshot, this design. But there isn't. Now I've got a snapshot feature here, window and snapshot. Unfortunately, you think, oh, that will work. Sadly, no, you can't do that. And if I go to File and Save As, and I can just quickly do that, you can save the file. Now the result may not be what you expect, but you can save it. Let's just go and save, or you can use File and Export. Some features you can, and sometimes the results are actually pretty good. So you've got that design, but you'll notice what happens sometimes is that the mirror, the actual panel might disappear. In this case, it doesn't appear to be doing that. But so you've got this design, so you might think that's great. I love that design. And I can say export, and I'm going to save it to my desktop. And I'm just going to call it 1.png, save. But say I decide, you know what, I want to change that. I want to change the number of mirrors. I've got this design now, or that design. And again, I can do exactly the same. So File, and again, Export. And again, you've got that design. But you'll notice the problem. And that's why I was going to point out, you can't save it. It's unfortunate. It doesn't see this design until you click apply. So I just wanted to point that out, because it's a thing that's always baffles me. Why, oh why, it doesn't think. So click apply and then go to File and Export if you want to save it. And then you will get the actual design. But it does mean, unfortunately, you have to go into the mirror again. So you can export that now and just save it, say as 2.png, so save. And you can see the result will be different. But it does mean you have to go again. You either undo, you can undo it, and then just create the mirror again. It's not ideal solution, I don't think. Also, you've got an option here, layer and fade mirror. So you can actually blend between, though personally, it doesn't look elegant, I think, with the mirror. The blend between them, or blend modes, it generally doesn't create the nicest result. Though maybe with different colours, different designs, it will work better. But cancel at that point. And again, you've got this design, so filters and distort, and again, mirror. You can go back into it, but it's now applying the mirror to this design. And again, you can create all kinds of complex designs. Maybe make the mirrors up to 17 or 20. Change the input. Again, hold down the Alt Option key if you want to move it around very rapidly. So create that sort of design. And again, click apply. And then again, File and Export. So you can save it again, which of course then you can use it maybe in a pattern design, maybe use it as bitmap, as a fill layer, those sort of things. So export, and again, 3.png. So they're great selections of files that you can use for future projects from this. And you can use them, of course, with like displacements, say. So you've got filter, and you've got distort, and you've got displace. And you can use those as maybe as a layer, or maybe just as a file you can bring in. Really useful. But also you can, of course, combine it with other filters. So filter and deform, and you can just distort this design. So click there, add some pins and handles, and just distort that design in all kinds of ways. And that also can be mirrored. So you can distort it like that, click apply, filter, and again, distort and mirror. And create even more unique designs very rapidly. Of course, these designs will have the slightly stretched out look. Very unusual designs can be created that way. And click apply again. So that's all from that basic procedural texture filter. Hope you found this tutorial of interest. Any questions about procedural texture, about the formulas used, the presets, please let me know. Also, please check out all my previous videos about procedural texture. I have got loads and loads of tutorials about that, how to use it, how to add, all those sort of things. So please check those out. And a like or dislike, always great to have as well. Thank you. Thank you much. Bye.